They tell you to follow your passion, no matter the cost. But nobody ever shows you the bill. Well, this is my receipt. It's not written in ink. It's written in sleepless nights, missed birthdays, and relationships that just faded to black. It's written on my face in the mirror, the face of someone who got everything he ever wanted, and in the process, lost almost everything he ever had. You've seen the success stories, the highlight reels, that triumphant final chapter. But you don't see the pages they tore out, the ones stained with tears, anxiety, and that paralyzing fear that you might be failing. Today, we're going to read those pages. We're going to talk about the real cost of ambition, and I'm going to try to answer the question that haunts so many of us on this path. Was it worth it? It didn't start with some dramatic leap of faith. It never does, right? It started as a quiet hum under the surface of a perfectly good life, a safe life. I had the stable job, the paycheck I could count on, the weekends off. On paper, it was everything you're told to want. But there was this nagging feeling, this little voice that kept asking, is this it? Is this all you are? The dream was just an escape at first, a hobby, a project I'd work on after hours, fueled by a passion that felt more real than my 9-to-5. But soon, that hobby became an obsession. It was all I could think about. And the motivational videos, the success stories, they all said the same thing. If you want it badly enough, you have to go all in. Sacrifice is just part of the journey, and I bought into it. I saw sacrifice as a temporary investment. Short-term pain for long-term gain. I romanticized the whole idea of the hustle, of pouring every single ounce of myself into this one goal. I told my friends, my family, just wait. It's all going to pay off. I sold them on the vision. More importantly, I sold myself on it. I saw the whole thing as a simple transaction. I'd trade my time, my comfort, my energy now for a future of freedom and success. I knew there'd be a cost, but I thought I was in control of the price. I had no idea how wrong I was. The fine print was invisible, and the interest rate was brutal. The first invoice came from my relationships. I'll make it next time became my go-to line, next birthday, next holiday, next dinner. But next time almost never came. My life was just a relentless cycle of deadlines, projects, and putting out fires that couldn't wait. The world was moving on without me, and I was too busy, too focused to even notice. Friends eventually stopped calling because they already knew the answer. Real conversations with my partner were replaced by exhausted one-word replies before. I passed out on the couch. I was building a future for us. That's what I told myself. But I was building it alone, and I was sacrificing the very people I was supposedly doing it all for. Next up was the bill for my health. My body started keeping score. Sleep became a luxury I just couldn't afford. My diet was basically whatever was fastest. Exercise, a distant memory. I was running on pure adrenaline and caffeine, telling myself it was the price of greatness. But burnout isn't something you just sleep off over a weekend. It's a deep state of exhaustion, physical, mental, and emotional. I was irritable, anxious, and my creativity, the one skill my dream depended on, was fading fast. I ignored every warning sign. I wore my exhaustion like a badge of honor, proof of my dedication. We're taught that burnout is a sign you're working hard. The reality is, It's a sign you're breaking down. Finally, the sneakiest cost of all, sacrificing my present happiness. My life became a list of deferred joys. I'll be happy when I hit this milestone. I'll relax after the launch. I'll reconnect with people once I'm successful. But that finish line just kept moving. I was so obsessed with the destination, I didn't realize the journey was costing me my soul. And that's when it all came crashing down. For me, it wasn't some big cinematic moment. It was a quiet Tuesday morning. I had just landed the biggest deal of my career. This was it. The moment that was supposed to make everything worthwhile. I picked up my phone to share the news, and I started scrolling through my contacts. And I just stopped. Who could I even call? Who would get it? Who would truly understand what this meant? My best friend? We hadn't had a real talk in 6 months. My partner? We were living like roommates, our connection worn thin by my constant absence and stress. My family? They were proud, sure, but from a distance, like they were watching a movie of someone else's life. In my biggest moment of triumph, I had never felt more alone. I had the dream. I was standing on top of the mountain, and there was no one there with me. The victory felt hollow. It was a quiet, devastating realization. The bill had come due, and I had paid with everything that mattered more than money or success. I had won the game, but I'd lost myself completely. Before I go on, I need to pause and ask you something. I know some of you watching are on this same path. Maybe you're just starting out, or maybe you're deep in the grind and feeling that strain. I want to hear your story. Drop a comment below and tell me what you've sacrificed for your dream and how you feel about it right now. This is a conversation we need to have more honestly, and your story really matters. So, back to the question, was it worth it? If you're looking for a simple yes or no, I can't give you one. The answer is as complicated and messy as the journey was. Just because the cost was huge doesn't mean there weren't real rewards. That brutal pursuit forged me into someone new. I found a resilience I never knew I had. I learned discipline, how to adapt, and a kind of self-awareness that only comes from hitting rock bottom and having to climb your way back out. There's a deep satisfaction that comes from building something from nothing, and that gave me a sense of purpose. But a huge part of the journey is also regret. I regret the relationships that are permanently damaged. I can't get back the missed weddings, the birthdays, the simple moments with people I love. No amount of success can rewind that clock. And that's the great, unspoken paradox of this path. You might have to give up parts of your life that you can never, ever get back. The biggest lesson I learned was about intentionality. Sacrifice is often necessary, but it has to be a conscious choice, not just what happens by default. You have to be brutally honest about what you are willing to trade, and more importantly, what is non-negotiable. Is it your health, your partner, your mental peace? If you don't draw those lines in the sand, the dream will take everything. Real, sustainable success isn't about how much you can endure. It's about building a life that can actually endure your success. I didn't lose everything chasing my dream, but I lost a lot. I lost a version of myself I can never be again. I lost time and connections that I'll be mourning for a long time. The life I have now is the one I dreamed of, but it's shaded with the ghosts of what it cost. So, was it worth it? Today, I'd say yes, with an asterisk. It was worth the skills I gained. It was worth the person it forced me to become. But it wasn't worth the price I originally paid. The real win wasn't getting the dream. It was surviving the process and learning how to rebuild a life that had room for both my ambition and my humanity. If you're on this path, don't let anyone sell you the clean, sanitized version of success. Understand the cost, read the fine print, and never believe that you have to sacrifice your entire life to build a new one. The most successful people aren't the ones who just reach their goals. They're the ones who have someone to share it with. When they get there, thank you for listening to my unfiltered story. If this resonated, subscribe for more honest conversations about what it really takes. And please, keep this conversation going in the comments. We all have something to learn from each other.